Do you think you know everything about the planets in our solar system? Well, think again. Here are 12 strange facts about the planets in our solar system that you probably never knew you didn't know. Number 12. You can only have a noon on Venus. There's no such thing as a midnight on Venus. It is always either noon or midnight on the planet. This is due to its extreme length of day, which is longer than its year. This means that every single place on Venus experiences exactly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness every single day. The reason why the days and nights are so long on Venus is because it rotates on its axis very slowly. A year on Venus lasts just under 225 Earth days. So if it takes 225 Earth days for Venus to make one full rotation around the Sun, then how long do you think it takes for it to make one full rotation on its own axis? The answer is 243 Earth days. So a year on Venus is made up of 365 days. That is one full rotation around the Sun. But each day on Venus is made up of 243 days. So there's no such thing as a morning or afternoon or evening on Venus. It is always either noon or midnight. No, 11. Jupiter has more than a dozen known rings. Jupiter's rings are intermediate in complexity. Halfway between the more extensive set around Saturn and the simpler rings found around Mercury, Neptune, and Saturn. They were discovered by Galileo Galilei in 1610 and are intermediate in complexity. Halfway between the more extensive set around Saturn and the simpler rings found around Mercury, Neptune, and Saturn. He was able to see them with his telescope at the time. There are more than a dozen known rings around Jupiter, but astronomers believe that there are actually hundreds of rings that are too small to be seen from Earth. In total, there are 79 known moons of Jupiter, which is the fourth largest body in the solar system. Jupiter's rings are intermediate in complexity, halfway between the more extensive set around Saturn and the simpler rings found around Mercury, Neptune, and Saturn. Number 10. Some diamonds bigger than grizzly bears exist on the planet Uranus. Yes, that's right. On the planet Uranus, there exist diamonds that are humongous, much bigger than anything we have ever seen before here on Earth. How big could they be? Well, scientists say that some of these space diamonds could reach a massive 262 carats in size. And if that doesn't blow your mind enough, consider that there are likely trillions of these giant diamonds all across the planet Uranus. Just imagine what you could do with a diamond like that. Or better yet, don't even imagine it, because it would literally be impossible to move such a diamond. Even if you were to somehow find a way to mine them out of Uranus and transport them back to Earth, there is not a building on the planet Earth that could fit a diamond that big inside of it. Number 9. Scientists have found evidence of a salty ocean on the planet Mars. Now keep in mind that this is not just any old ocean. This is an underground ocean. Scientists have been looking for water on Mars for years now, and it seems like they may have finally found it. Using data from the Mars Global Surveyor spacecraft, scientists were able to detect variations in the planet's gravitational field. These variations suggest that there is a large amount of mass beneath the surface of Mars, specifically in the southern hemisphere. This mass could be anything from ice to rock to, yes, even a salty ocean. What's more, scientists believe that this ocean could contain more than 2 times the amount of water that is found in all of Earth's oceans combined. If this is true, then it means that Mars could have once been a much more Earth-like planet with a thicker atmosphere and lots of flowing water on the surface. However, something must have happened to cause the planet's atmosphere to thin and all of its water to freeze. No, 8. Each of Saturn's rings is actually made up of countless smaller particles. For example, the largest ring of Saturn, which is called the A ring, is about 20,000 kilometers wide and only 300 meters thick. Saturn has more than a dozen known rings, but astronomers believe that there are actually thousands of rings that are too small to be seen from Earth. Most of the rings are opaque and only a few miles wide. Each ring is made up of countless smaller particles, which range in size from dust grains to house-sized chunks of ice. And while we don't know exactly how many rings Saturn has, we do know that it has more than any other planet in the solar system. No. 7. Lightning on Jupiter is 100 times more powerful than lightning on Earth. We've all seen lightning strike, and we know that it is a truly powerful force of nature. But if you thought that was impressive, Just wait until you hear about lightning on Jupiter. Not only does it strike much more often than it does on Earth, but it is also 100 times more powerful. In fact, lightning is so common on Jupiter that it creates an aurora almost 3,000 kilometers above the planet's surface. And that's not even the most impressive part. Jupiter's auroras are visible from almost anywhere on the planet, making them one of the most spectacular sights in the solar system. No. 6. Saturn is the only planet in the solar system that has 2 moons at the same time. That's right. While most planets only have a handful of moons, Saturn has a whopping 82 of them. And to make things even more impressive, all 82 moons orbit the planet in perfect harmony with each other. This means that there is never any gravitational chaos or weird moon stuff going on around Saturn. In fact, all of its moons orbit the planet in such a way that they form a sort of protective barrier around it. This protects Saturn from being hit by comets and asteroids, and it's one of the reasons why Saturn is one of the oldest planets in the solar system. Number 5. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. You heard that right. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. How can this be possible? Well, let me explain. A year on Venus lasts for 225 Earth days. However, a day on Venus lasts for 243 Earth days. This means that if you were to live out your entire life on Venus, you would experience more years than days. So if you were born on Venus, you would celebrate your first birthday by also celebrating your first death day. No. 4. All of the planets in the solar system have at least one known moon except for Mercury and Venus. Both Mercury and Venus have 0 moons. This is not surprising given that both planets are relatively close to the Sun. And as we all know, the Sun's gravity is very strong. It is likely that the Sun's gravity has simply pulled apart any potential moons that Mercury and Venus may have had in the past. In contrast, Jupiter has the most moons with 79 known moons. Saturn comes in second with 82 known moons. No. 3. If you were to stand on the planet Neptune and measure the strength of gravity, you would feel heavier than you do on Earth. That's right. Gravity on Neptune is about 11% stronger than it is on Earth. This means that if you weighed 200 pounds on Earth, you would weigh over 220 pounds on Neptune. Of course, you would need to be very careful standing on Neptune, because it is a gas giant, and you could easily fall into its massive, deep and cold oceans. Note too, there are volcanoes on Venus that are taller than Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth, standing at over 8,800 meters tall. However, there are volcanoes on Venus that are over 10 times taller than Mount Everest. These volcanoes are made of solidified lava and are the result of Venus's extreme volcanic activity. In fact, Venus is the most volcanically active planet in the solar system. Number 1. There are more spacecraft exploring Mars than any other planet in our solar system. That's right. As of right now, there are more spacecraft exploring Mars than any other planet in our solar system. In fact, there are currently 5 spacecraft exploring Mars, including the Curiosity rover, the Perseverance rover, and the Hope orbiter. The reason why so much attention is focused on Mars is because it is one of the most promising places to look for signs of life beyond Earth. In fact, NASA believes that there is a good chance that there is or was life on Mars at some point in the planet's history. So there you have it. It's 12 strange facts about the planets in our solar system that you probably never knew you didn't know. Which fact was the most surprising to you? So let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.